I can understand when you have to kill a baby to. Oh, I should probably explain what that means first of all.
He means
Instead of
it
just
literally.
saying that about.
Oh no. Commit war crimes.
My favorite thing in the world.
Yep, it's mine too. I was gonna keep going with that, and my lawyer says that I'm not supposed to, so we're gonna move on.
Oh, you're getting contacted by the lawyer?
I'm getting contacted by the lawyer saying, please don't mention any groups of people. I'm not ready.
Let's go.
Hello. We're here. We're here in the middle of the day.
Yeah, this is strange for us. We usually record at night,
Yes.
but I mean, someone had
I had an
plans,
issue.
whatever. Someone has friends, someone has things to do, whatever, I guess.
Braydan, you okay? You need to talk about it?
Yes.
You okay?
No, I'm okay.
Are you okay?
I'm fine.
You have friends? Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no!
So, it may not be as manic as it usually is because, like, I feel when it gets dark is when all the jokes come. But it'll be fun, it'll be funny, and we're gonna have a great time because, everyone, it's time.
Yeah.
It is time. Can they see it already? Can they see the...
They can see it already, yes.
Okay. Well, then you already know what's about to happen. We have the beat sheet out. We are about to get crack-a-lacking on it. Starting writing it. Okay.
Yep. I will admit,
I know.
my best
Yeah,
thoughts
go ahead.
are at 3 a.m. But, you know, I've got this is my second cup of coffee. My first cup I had at 2 p.m.
Oh, well. You gotta be prepared.
Yeah, gotta be prepared. And, you know, my 3 a.m. thoughts are mostly war crimes. And that's not what we're trying to achieve today.
Our lawyer did tell us to steer away from the war crimes.
The war crime. Yeah, it's a bad habit. I'm working on it. I've only killed a handful of people in the past year, so.
No. Well,
FBI man that's listening, that was a joke.
thank you for admitting that onto
my lawyer's
the
like,
internet for
shit,
everyone to
he
see.
said that. He said that on camera.
What?
Oh, man.
I'm just being told that the show's canceled.
The show has been canceled. We appreciate you guys going on this journey with us.
Hit that subscribe, hit that notification button for when we update you on the trial.
Yep.
Okay.
Insert outro.
Anyways,
Yes.
the beat sheet.
Yes.
I went ahead and formatted it. Well, obviously, some of this stuff has been updated, but I kind of wrote it out, giving us the basics of what kind of plugs into each spot. I know we went over it maybe like 2 episodes ago. I kind of did a rundown of it, just in case we forget or missed anything. And this gets into a bit more details of how each beat in a sequence and each beat in an act meshes together. That's not to say that the movie's gonna feel super formulaic, because I know that's like a fear with some film writing students. And if you're uninitiated at home and you're seeing a beat sheet for the first time and you're thinking, wow, this is just like super rigid. No, this is a road for us to take, but we can make it look however we want. So we're not bound by any sort of conventions. Our story can look like whatever it wants, but this just gives us a bit of a guide to go off of. So at the top here, which we can do this a bit later after we write in the setup, we have our want and our need. And I went over this, but just a reminder, the want is something that our character sets out to achieve or prevent from happening. Your want doesn't always have to be, I want this and I want to go get it. It can be, I don't want this to happen, so I'm going to do everything in my power to stop that. and that drives the plot, especially in the second act, where pretty much the entire second act is trying to get after this wand. Then by the end, towards the third act, we realize what the need is, which is something the character realizes within themselves internally that they need to change about themselves. And that usually hints at our character arc emotionally developing over the course of a story.
Yes.
So
cool.
We have at the top the setup.
Yes.
Obviously, this is not accurate anymore.
Yeah,
we're doing.
I also huge fan of
Texas.
this right here. This is wonderful.
This is not accurate anymore either.
Yeah, no, it's not. So if you missed last episode, I'm sure I've done a thing. No, sorry. I'm sure Editor Cole has done a thing to kind of help catch us up, but we've made some changes. We've had some discussions off camera, just between sessions, making sure we're on the same page of certain things, checking our work, making sure that we're not missing anything, making sure that we're not ripping off anything. This idea has obviously gone from almost a Transylvania thing in London to now we're in Texas Wild West.
Yes.
And we picked Texas because there's a few bits of environment, habitat, ecosystem is the word I'm looking for. Ecosystems to kind of pick from. Plains, desert, marshy, green area, and then I guess also Mexico. Which is just more, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably more desert.
That's over a river, but yeah, it's there.
We have swapped our main character out. We feel it is more interesting to have somebody from the outside going in, and we just discussed, well, where's our character coming from? We've picked Chinese immigrant. Braydan did some historical research and found that a lot of immigrants from China came into Texas. I don't remember the timeline you said, but it should be around Wild West time.
Yeah, towards the end of the Wild West era, which many believe it ended around the 1870s. Okay. A lot of these Chinese immigrants were coming in prior to the start of the 1800s, and by about 1850, so we're at I'm assuming that now, if we're doing this, we're setting our story at the twilight of this era, where similar to how Red Dead Redemption 2 was kind of at the end of the golden era of cowboys and robbery, train robberies and things your stereotypical Wild West is coming to an end. And a lot of these Chinese immigrants were railroad laborers working in the hot sun, building these railroads for a new invention, the train. So
yep. And I'm sure we're stretching some things a little bit with how we do this, but we're also adding monsters in, so it's who gives a shit. But we're trying to create somewhat of a grounded reality in our fantasy world by using kind of real historical facts to kind of back up some logic to our story. So we have Chinese immigrant coming in to monster-ridden America in Texas, who will meet our secondary character, a gunslinger / monster hunter. And Braydan came up with Wizard Cowboy, which is going to be so cool.
In a way.
So we have magic bullets now. So, but anyway, now that I've spouted some cool things, Braydan, why don't you say some things, and then we'll keep going.
You want me to say some things? Okay. Well, now since we pretty much have our premise. I wouldn't say we have the setup yet, because that will be into the story. We have the premise. We're in the Wild West. We're in Texas. and we have monsters, and we have 2 characters that we want to interact. Now I think we can start to figure out what the plot structure may perhaps be. And off rip, and we can workshop this a little bit, I have 2 potential suggestions, just thinking like right now.
Yes.
We have one where we do this almost like road trip archetype. And I would say off the top, I'm a little less attached to this particular structure. But anyways, we do the road trip archetype where characters are going from place to place to place, interacting with new characters, monsters, maybe bringing people along for the journey, yada yada yada, eventually getting into one destination where something big happens. Usually when we reach this location, the climax occurs. We have, maybe it's a big climactic fight scene or something, whatever. And then we're like progressing. We have forward momentum in that regard. Or my other thought is we kind of bottle it a bit more into one location, like more like a chamber piece that I suggested in the first episode of this series. I don't think we need to do it like so confined where it's in one building. I did have the thought where like almost the entire movie was like in a jail, like they have to like set up in a jailhouse and like survive. I don't think it needs to be that like that. I don't think it needs to do. We need to do the stereotypical one street western town, but like some kind of area where our heroes, our characters are confined to, and are having to interact with other characters that maybe have different motives and goals, but they're all kind of stuck in this location, sort of like Die Hard, I guess. We have different characters in different positions, but they're all kind of in the same general area. Maybe like I know we floated the idea of like a more urban space. Like I don't know what urban areas look like in Texas at this time, but or like in the swamp. I do think the swamp is a really cool setting. So
yeah,
some thoughts.
I don't hate that. My brain was like maybe more. There's a bit more adventure, but that's kind of hard to do. I feel like without like doing more than one film, maybe if we were to like travel a bunch. But you know, Lord of the Rings did it, but they also had 3-hour movies. So
yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah, which I don't think we're gonna do that, but I think it kind of depends on our story. I'm still kind of like, and I don't know if this is a thing where it's like before or after, but I still think our main character should get infected with this monster thing and looks for a cure. That's kind of where I'm still kind of pushing. But I could also see, and, well, hold on. My brain is wait. Ooh. The cogs are turning. A scene has entered my brain, and a scene has...
I can see the steam.
This doesn't happen very often, so let me get this out. Okay. I'm imagining. Okay. I was gonna like grab it, but yeah, okay.
Offering you the floor.
Spits on your hand. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway. I'm imagining a group of like railroad laborers. Maybe some are Chinese. I mean, our character's Chinese. Maybe there's some other mixed in there. Maybe
for sure.
Other immigrants. They're working on the railroad. They've got their like, what's the term? Foreman. Like the foreman's like there with a couple dudes guarding them, and a group of monsters comes in and attacks. And like the guards get killed, maybe the foreman gets killed. Our main character's about to get killed, and the gunslinger swoops in, kapow, pow, 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 and because that's what gunslingers do. And maybe and that's how our characters meet. But like this monster's maybe like tackles our main character before ba ba ba, and so like all of the blood kind of when the monster's killed, they've been infected. So now the gunslinger's like, you don't got long, and like is getting ready to shoot, but then they're like, no, or I don't know. And that, see, now we're kind of getting out of it. of my thing.
I like I do like the idea of the gunslinging character almost like wanting to put this character down like a rabies infected dog. It's like, you're gonna hurt people, and the character has to somehow come up with a way to save their own skin in some regard. I think it's funny because I almost had a similar scene in my head when the character was gonna be like, the main character, the immigrant character, was gonna be like a convict or something sent overseas. And I almost had a scene where they're on like death row, marching up to like the hanging noose or whatever, or they're in jail and like about to ride out, and then the monsters like swarm in. Almost a very similar scene in that regard. But so yeah, I think that's an exciting place to start. If we're already like off rips, things are going to shit in the first 2-3 minutes of the film.
Yeah, because I think the original idea was the reason our character goes to the monster-ridden place was because they were infected, which I think is very interesting too. But this scene that's entered my head, I think, is too good to not do this. But I don't know. I could see it going both ways, and it's also like that scenario helps us connect our characters so quickly. And it's like,
I think we need to reassess how our protagonist comes to America, for what purpose. I really like this infection scene. That's really cool. Now it's almost, we have to think about, okay, so why are they in this situation?
True.
For what purpose? Why would you come to a country infected with monsters unless you didn't know it was? It's always possible.
Well,
but why come?
We talked about, before we started this session, we talked a little bit about avoiding a Django situation.
Yes.
So I don't think I don't see it. You know what? I'm not going to say that because I don't know enough about history to know if there were Chinese immigrant slaves.
Okay.
So I was going to say, I don't think that there were, but I don't actually know.
I can't confirm or deny that. So, with my knowledge, but
and we'll have more time to probably do research on that before our next session. This session just kind of came up a bit quicker than I think, and that's my fault actually. But
I forgive.
I don't think we want to do the slavery route either way. I think we should do mistreated worker, if anything.
Yeah, sure.
But that doesn't answer the question of, well, why not find a job in China? Why come here? And that brings me back to back when we were still in London, your idea of this character committed a crime. So they're being sent off to...
Or at least was convicted of something.
So... And I don't
sent
know...
aside.
I don't know how... I don't know what the crime would be, and I don't know how we would set that up, because I don't think we need to, like, show China. I think, if anything, we show... her? Her. Did we confirm her?
Yeah, I'm thinking...
Okay.
Her.
Woman. Is... I think, if anything, we show we need to give her a name, probably, but...
we need to give all of our characters a name at some point.
Yes. And I'm great at this.
You are the best, some would say.
I've forgotten what my point was going to be. Like, I was...
I bet it was something incredibly intelligent.
If anything, we show her on the boat. Like, coming in to, like, port or whatever. And, like, we show, like...
I almost like
that getting
there's another way to do this inciting incident, or not this inciting incident, but this opening scene where maybe she's not even like she doesn't even have the railroad laborer job yet. She's like, I know we had said something that like before where our character like lands on one of the coasts, like California or maybe like North Carolina on the other side of the country, and almost like wanders all the way to Texas.
Yeah.
And so there's almost a way where like we open the scene of her just like wandering in the desert. We don't know how we don't know where she came from. We don't know how we got here. That's like for later purposes. But we're doing one of the principles. That would be doing one of the principles of dramatic writing, which is raising questions.
Yeah.
That's what keeps an audience engaged. That's what keeps an audience watching a movie, is if you're raising questions and answering them at some point. But, you know, and it's not that the other opening scenes we've suggested don't do the same thing. But I think that like immediate question of who is this person? They look out of place and they look scared and tired and worn down. Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? Like we're introducing her into a place and we're already setting up that she is in a pretty dire situation out of the get-go before we even get the monsters involved.
I almost wonder if we do like a Skyrim situation. And so
what's the Skyrim situation?
So have you
this
seen?
might out me.
Oh no! This
might out me as a really bad nerd. I consider myself a nerd. I like a lot of things. I've never played Skyrim. I've never played any of the Elder Scroll games. Comments, please be nice. Comments, please. We haven't gotten like hardly any comments on this channel. It's all gonna start coming in now.
Have you seen like the intro where they're on the wagon? Okay, so
no.
I'll find it on YouTube and I'll send it to you so you know what I'm talking about. But like the intro to Skyrim is you're just a prisoner. Like it fades in and you have woken up on this wagon and you are going into this town to get your head cut off.
Yeah. That's what I'm my head's almost like in that realm.
Now obviously our character's not gonna get decapitated here, but it's like, so I guess we're on the same page because it's like she and like a bunch of other workers get stuck on this wagon to go into Texas where the work site is, wherever that is, wherever we decide. We haven't thought that through yet, but so we get to know the other immigrants / convicts or whatever, because nobody's willingly immigrating to America in this world, and so
no, these are all people being shipped.
So we get close to these other characters that we think, oh, we're gonna sit with them, only to have them brutally killed.
We do the Marion Crane thing. Yeah.
So I think that could be really cool.
So do you want them? Okay, so now there's two different ways to do this scene. I think we can have them be carted off to the work site where they're working on the railroad, or we have them carted off to like a jail or something like that, like a bit more of an incarceration type deal. Which way to go? I think either way we would need to make that option feel bad, and so it's almost like this character back to the wall already, because either you can go die in the middle of nowhere, which is probably a bad idea, or go with this people to like with this cart to like jail or a terrible working site, which is also unideal. Or you could get killed once the monster infects you, which is not ideal. Or you can go with this gunslinging mercenary on an adventure or something like that, which is also not ideal for this character. Like things like that, you know. If they're gonna work on the railroad, it needs to be like rough.
I like the wagon idea, and let me tell you why. It gets us directly from the boat to the work site, and it will allow us, because in Skyrim, and I'm not trying to rip off of Skyrim here, although we could do some references that would be really, really funny. You get into the town, you get off the wagon, and it's like, okay, who are you? And you make your character, but it's like they have this paper in front of them, and it's like we have them as like, oh, your name is so and so, you committed this crime, go over there, get your assigned job on the railroad job site. And that gets us to her punishment, what she did, and it gets us pretty much ready to go for the inciting incident of the monsters attacking her, essentially being freed by the gunslinger, but now she has a new problem. And we can still, during the wagon ride, do some dialogue back and forth, but it gives us more space to go on the actual adventure. And it's like, the call to action is like, oh, there's no choice. You have to go on this journey or you are dead. Okay, his cogs are turning. Oh my god.
Cogs are turning.
Cogs are turning.
Okay. Hear me out here.
Hearing you
Maybe
out.
I'll write it down. Actually, I'm not gonna write it down.
Okay.
You may shoot this down. Here's my setup of the first 15 pages. In a way that we can have all the world building dialogue. Just imagine that interspersed, where we have these characters subtly referencing what the world they're about to be in and their backstory and things like that. General first 15-page shit.
Yeah.
Open, middle of nowhere desert, sun setting. Our character wandering around or kind of stumbling. An officer, a sheriff on horseback, comes up, says, "Where are you? Who are you? Where are you coming from? Who are you?" And it's she's not answering. He's like, "Okay, you can join the rest of us." Gets him on this convict wagon, talking to all the other people in a similar situation that are unwilling to, or they're running away from something or unwilling to cooperate. Our protagonist already starts active. They're trying to break out of this wagon. Okay, trying to band the other convicts to stage a revolt. If we all work together, we can escape and figure out what to do next together. That seems like it's gonna work. There's maybe some conflict with the officers, be like, "Hey, what are you doing back there? Stop." That's when the monsters come. All right, that's when the monsters come. Now we have a conflict. Do I escape and run out into the monster world, or do I just go to jail and die eventually? So more conflict, deciding of what to do. She decides eventually, yeah, I'm going to break out. We're leaving. All the other characters are like, no, I'd just rather go to jail. You're on your own. We have the monsters eventually kill all those people. Then we have our proposed scene. She gets pinned. She gets infected by getting bit or blood dropping on her or whatever.
We can work that out.
Boom, gunslinger comes in. You're going to be dead by blah, blah, blah. You're infected. I should just put you down now. She has to convince him that's a bad idea because of something from her past that gives her value to stay alive. We don't know what that is yet. And the audience wouldn't know what that is yet either, because that would be something to reveal later on in the story. But some reason that prevents the gunslinger from just putting her down right now and risking everyone's lives around them. That's my first 15-page idea.
I really like that, actually. I do think in order to fully work that out, we have to work on her background a bit more.
Yeah.
Is where does she come from? Is she a thief? Did she study any martial arts? Is she just a commoner that really doesn't know anything about anything in terms of fighting and stuff? Obviously, with what you've said, she's gonna have to be somewhat of a thief if you're picking the lock and trying to escape a thing.
if this character is going to be our protagonist, I want her to be very strong, very active. I don't want her to just sit around and let the plot happen around her. She needs to be someone who is capable. That doesn't mean that she has to be like a world-class fighter or a world-class lockpick or things like that. Honestly, I think it'd be more interesting if she was kind of okay at some of these things, and we see her try and fail to like do these things. So, like in this opening sequence, maybe she tries and fails to like pick the lock, or when she's fighting a sheriff before the monsters come, she's like kind of struggling. That gives her a place to grow as the story progresses. Maybe our gunslinging character, monster hunter character, is able to teach her a thing or two. But off the rip, she should be someone who's not content to sit on their hands. I think that's important. They can't sit on their hands at any point.
So she's kind of... Maybe she's like... and this is a Japanese thing, but like maybe she's kind of like a shinobi, if that makes sense. But like the Chinese...
Explain...
So shinobi is like a ninja, essentially. They're like the opposite of samurai. Samurais are like warriors that are honorable, whereas shinobis, they like are assassins. They fight like thieves. So it's like if we give her, and of course she's Chinese, so like she can't be shinobi. Like that's just not a thing. And that's where we would do a lot more research. But that would give her.
And I think there's now I'm thinking the cogs are turning again. Since we're in the fantasy world, maybe it's not like, maybe we're like referencing like that type of like ninja shinobi stuff, but it's something native to this reality, and something about this group of people, or something about her particular skill set, or maybe mystical abilities, gives her the key to helping this town with their monster problem. Yeah. She has some kind of technique. She has some sort of MacGuffin device, maybe. I don't know what it could be. But she uses that knowledge as leverage in order to save her skin.
So I'm gonna say this. Let's give her thief background. She has a kung fu background as well. I'm gonna just say that because that gives her already. But her disadvantage, because she has to have a disadvantage. She knows nothing about guns, and that's where the mentor part of the gunslinger will come in. And even though she probably will use guns at some point, I still think her if anything, it will be close range, because I don't think we're gonna have time to have her master gunslinging. But we can. No. But my cogs started turning about your MacGuffin and all that, when gunslingers got the gun pointed towards her. Oh, sorry audience, gun safety is a big thing. Hey yo bro. I think there's
don't worry, it's on safety, it's okay.
Oh, safety's on. Mine's loaded without a safety. I think there's a magical something at play, where she kind of, like, maybe there's like a chosen one thing going on. And I don't know what that entails. I don't know what that would mean, but like she has the capability that the gunslinger recognizes, because I feel like we could kind of have him be like he abandoned like maybe a monster hunter cult thing. I think we can still play around with something like that.
Yeah, I still think that's good for his background, because I still think we can't ignore that character, even though he's not the protagonist anymore. Yeah. I think that his like clan being a monster hunting cult that he's maybe eschewing, or coming to realize and then eschewing towards the end of the story, is an interesting arc for him. So I do think that we should keep that, but it's not as important as what our protagonist's arc is going to be, which I still think we need to. We're still working on, but this momentum of finding a cure and surviving this infection that will have consequences throughout the script is a good start, and that's going to push everything that will give our character motivation for all the actions she's going to do heretofore.
Yeah. But so because he has that background, he can recognize, oh, she has, maybe there's like a Harry Potter MacGuffin marking on her face or something stupid, and it's like, oh, you might be the person that can balance the Force or some shit. And so then we go and Kenobi fights this person, and then she becomes Darth Vader, and that's how we go into A New Hope. Is
okay.
You see what I'm saying? No, but you,
sure, yeah.
You see what I mean, though. Like, this is her MacGuffin. Is like she's kind of. I think a chosen one thing could be really cool, and it's like that could also bring us to a future installment if we decide to go that route once she's like cured of this beast stuff. Because I don't think our resolution is saving the world. I think our resolution.
Entirely.
Yeah, I think the resolution here would be she gets cured and progress is made in the world of some sort.
Yeah, for sure. There definitely needs to be ripple effects, but I don't think this is one of those stories where, yay, all the monsters are gone, we did it. Like, that's not what the end goal is here. It should be, hey, maybe at least this town that we come to or something, or these sets of characters that we've like established, or we now are equipped to actually tackle the monster issue. As if, like, before this character enters this world, we were not able to. We just had to, like, deal with it. Now we have the faculties to save our skins because of this character and their emotional growth. Yay, awesome, cool.
Yeah. Okay, so we're pretty much... We are locked in on the same page here. Like, this is... Okay.
Yeah.
So she has that background. I'm going to even argue that somehow she smuggled like some weapons from China or something. I don't know how that's a thing, but I think that could bring something. Just give her a little more to work with than her.
Maybe
hands.
like small things on her person.
Yeah,
like small things on her person.
Yeah, not like a crazy like big ass
like
spear thing, but but like like a small something.
Maybe she has like a small bag on her, like a satchel, and she has things in there that she can use.
And
but I imagine that would have been taken by like the sheriff character. But it would be something for her to like. She can like break out and grab that thing back. It's like I need to get that right now. So let's go get that thing.
Yeah, and that's because I don't know. The kung fu background's nice, but it's like that's not gonna help her with all of the monsters. Like if there's a big ass wolf monster thing that comes in, yeah.
I would argue it helps her with little to no monsters.
Yeah, it would help her with humans, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Which I think we're going to have to introduce human antagonists.
So...
Obviously. Well, obviously in this first scene, the sheriff or the cop characters are going to be human adversaries that she can use hand-to-hand combat against.
Yeah.
But that gets us to... I wouldn't say the thing that she needs to learn overall, like emotionally, but it gives her something to work towards. She's pretty good at fighting against people, but she's very ill-equipped against the monsters.
True.
That's something that the gunslinger character is able to teach her throughout the story.
Yeah.
And maybe she doesn't need to learn how to shoot a gun, but at least some type of change in her combat style that equips her to fight these monsters that she wouldn't have been able to otherwise. Like,
in my mind, she, like... And I'm gonna... Okay, God, calm down. Sorry, thunderstorm. Just bro's yelling at me. Like, bro, give her more. Like, dude, I'm working on it. Like, her weapon, maybe it's like a dagger. I don't know. I'll look at some... We should probably both research a bit about China. And we should probably look at her dialect, or not her dialect, her like, is she bilingual?
Bilingual.
Into what degree? And is that going to be a problem for two white dudes to write that don't know, what is it, Mandarin and Cantonese? Well, we'll probably have to just cheat that a little bit, but I think like as she learns, I think she just kind of incorporates guns into like close range combat. I think she is close range combat based, but like maybe she at the end she's, oh, I got a double barrel, I'm gonna just shoot him in the face after I've stabbed him a couple of times, something like that.
Right.
So
like a sawed-off shotgun eventually becomes your weapon or something.
Yeah. And that's something else. We'll probably research Wild West weapons as well, because I know, and this is just based off of what little I remember about Red Dead, but it's like repeaters, bolt action, revolvers. No pistols yet in our time period, but like shotguns, double barrels. I think they had a pump action shotgun too, and then they had like big ass like carving knives. So it's like, but I don't know if there's anything beyond that except for like a lasso, which I don't know that we're gonna do a lasso. I think lassoing a monster would be too ridiculous. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
So we probably ought to research just a bunch of the weapons, because the weapons are going to be a big part of how this unfolds in my mind. And then we also need to kind of create creatures. We need to probably research more on creatures and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
I'm still into this concept I think we both floated of kind of playing off of North America's history of cryptids and monsters and things, and then but putting our own spin on it and giving them all like a relation to like we still want to do blood magic type stuff, right? As like the lore behind things. So like retooling these kind of like archetypes of monsters and fitting it into this lore of blood magic type things to give them all like a similar.
Yeah, I think we have like the closest thing I can think of is like a video game boss. Like we pick like the Wendigo. That's like a big bad. But then we like pull like ghouls and like goblins, or not goblins, ghouls and like not zombies, but like beast monster dudes.
Other things we could do research on.
Things that are just like easy to like place in there so that they can be killed. Like it's something that's like not a crazy big bad. I think a skinwalker could work for that role, but we need more than just that, because like the two that I know are like skinwalker and a wendigo. Not the wendigo from Until Dawn, the one with the deer skull head. While the Until Dawn wendigos are scary as hell and very interesting, I'm not sure we go that route, because I think we take from Native American lore. I think it's Native American. Cancel me if it's not. But yeah, we need to research some American creatures, but I don't think it hurts to pull from other places in the world to create more common, like, oh, we need some action to happen here. Let's just throw some monsters at them. But anyway, I've been talking a lot. I haven't read the doc a ton. Okay, yeah, we've just been kind of, okay. I mean, I think we have a really good start here. Even though we don't know what the monsters are going to be. That's something we can definitely add on to Wednesday. When we film Wednesday's episode. And then because there's a lot of research that needs to happen still, and that's okay. And I think wait, did we talk about the blood moon idea on camera or off camera?
Yeah, we did. Did we?
Okay.
I think we did.
I don't remember.
Mention again real quick, just
Okay,
in case.
yeah, just in case.
Blood Moon. There we go.
Yeah. So we talked about in our off-camera session, which was like 30 minutes before we started. I probably should have just recorded it, honestly. But I mean, I don't know. So I brought up some points about what our atmosphere should be. Stereotypical Wild West atmosphere is, it's high noon, and it's middle of the day usually, and when things really like happen. And then our other genre, which is monsters, Transylvania, vampires, whatever, it's okay. I'm working on it. Stop thundering at me. It's gonna be so weird if nobody else can hear that.
I can't hear it, but I'm gonna trust you.
Please do. So, but anyway, the environment, it's like night. There's a full moon. It's foggy, and we're gonna kind of do like a naturalistic mixture of the two, I think. But we want to have like a crazy something. And we want to play with like the idea of a blood moon slash. Which eclipse was that you said? That we had to Google because we're not smart enough? Solar eclipse. So, and it's like, maybe it's like the solar eclipse is like something that a monster can bring out with magic. It's like, oh wow, this is like a big bad scary thing. But of course the other argument there is like, is that kind of power going to be too much for the climax of this when the goal is to get the cure and not save the world? Maybe that's something we do, and if we decide to do a sequel, maybe we save that for that. But we're definitely gonna play. I think we need to play around with the atmosphere, because we don't want to make it stereotypical Wild West, and we don't want to make it stereotypical monster movie. I think we're gonna want
correct
somewhat of a combination of the two, but I don't think we bring in. And this is kind of going to what your point was. I don't think I'm going to agree with your point. I'm restating his point, audience.
Oh wow. Okay.
Fog rolling in whenever monsters come in. I brought that up. There's a movie called The Mist that I haven't seen, but I've seen clips of it, where like a fog sweeps through the city and like monsters hide in it. I think the only time we bring in like a misty fog like environment is if we bring in like a ghost, like a spiritual monster kind of thing, where it's like, that makes sense. I would even argue the Wendigo could bring that in, but I also don't have the knowledge to know what that would look like. I've played with Wendigos in real life. I've gone out into the woods and just played with them. No, in my superhero series, The Knight, I have my protagonist fight an actual Wendigo, but I put my own twist on it, where he was like, once his physical body was defeated, a spiritual form came out, and it's like, now he has to fight this spiritual form, which but, and my twist there was only his skull, because Wendigos have like a editor Cole find a picture of what I'm talking about, like the skull Wendigo. It's like a deer-like skull, so I had my knight dude, he could only hit that. And that's how he was able to defeat the spiritual form, because everything else passed. It's like a ghost thing. So that's kind of what I played with that. But I think there's a lot of ways to go about making these different creatures and monsters. But we gotta like do it right, and we gotta like put all of the detail into it, so that it seems like it's its own world, instead of like, we put in a few throwaway monsters and then some big bads. We have to kind of really like flesh it out, which is what we're gonna do, because we're not shitters. believe it or not. Matter of fact, I haven't even taken a shit
Your
today.
peers.
So, but yeah, I think that's kind of what we're thinking about for atmosphere at the moment. And Brayden, you can tell me to shut the fuck up if I fucked any of that up on your end. But yeah.
No, I don't think so. You know what? I don't think so.
I did a good job. Somebody write that down.
Please, someone write that down.
Please, God, write that down. Yeah. But yeah, I think we have a really good setup here.
Yeah, I think.
Is this... So maybe go into... and I'm trying to remember what all you've kind of lectured everybody on. Have you... And of course, you did go through all of this 2 episodes ago. So if you missed that episode, Brayden talks nonstop for like an hour if you want to learn a lot of shit. I enjoyed... Fuck.
Editor Cole, just put the thumbnail like right here.
Yeah. But you go back and watch that.
Yeah, I did go into some detail. It's very sparse though, so hopefully as we're going through this section I can get even more detail. But just really quick, what I've learned is that we can divide a film into 8 sequences, so 8 little sections of 15 pages, and each of those 15 pages does something a little differently. And for right now, I can just go over the first 2 so that we can learn a little bit. So very first sequence is I'm calling the setup. So in this sequence, and we've already kind of written out what our setup will kind of look like, and it's doing all of the same types of things. We're meeting our main character, we're introducing our key relationships, which we do at the end of this sequence when we meet the gunslinger character. And we're going to be establishing what our character's worldview is, our perspective at the start. There's a very famous thing that Blake Snyder said in his Save the Cat. He's like a screenwriter. He wrote wrote one of the most popular books on screenwriting format. And one of his main lessons is on page 5 is where you state the theme of your movie. It sounds really stupid, but almost every movie's gonna do it, and sometimes you don't realize it until the end. And so by about page 5, a character is gonna say something to our protagonist that hints at what they're going to learn. We get an establishment of what their worldview is, and that's something that we can work on as we discover what the protagonist's need is. But our character is going to tell us, well, not really tell us, but maybe they're showing us what they're like right now. And that's important to know off the top. Then we get into the inciting incident, the one event in the first 15 pages that flips everything on its head, breaks the status quo that we've already established up to here, and sends our character on a new adventure. So, for here, Gunslinger, she's been infected, and she's now forced to go on an adventure of sorts with our Gunslinger character. The very next 15 pages, sequence 1.2, we'll say, the decision. This is the debate. Our characters are kind of figuring... Yeah. Did you raise your hand?
Earlier I did, because I just wanted to say that I was highlighting stuff that you were talking about. So, like, when I highlighted this audience, I was talking about, like, everything, like, kind of that, like, throws us into our story. And then when I highlighted this, this is kind of the inciting incident in my mind. Obviously, this is all the setup, but there's different, like... parts to the setup, and I would even argue like this is kind of the setup to the setup right here.
Yeah, this is like background info for sure.
And then we have our transition into the inciting incident, and then we have our inciting incident, and then that leads into what you're talking about, which is the decision of what to do after the inciting incident.
usually our protagonist goes through a phase where they're like, nah, I don't want to do this. Maybe it's not that on the nose, but there's something where the characters have to weigh, well, should I go on this journey? Should I do this thing? Is it even worth to go with this strange gunslinging monster hunter and find a cure for me? Or should I just like lay down and die right now? There's the debate, but something is going to force them to make what we call the first act decision, which is at the very end of the first act and propels us immediately into the second act, where a character is going to do something definitively that tells the audience, okay, we're doing this. This is the kind of character I am, and we're going to go on this journey together. So that's something that we're going to figure out in the next episode, probably.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she stops him. We haven't figured out the why to that yet. We probably will kind of. I imagine we'll finish the decision next episode, and then go back and just, especially with our research, we'll go back and revise sequence 1.1. And that'll help us even develop sequence 1.2. We'll probably do sequence 1.2, revise sequence 1.1. And then revise sequence 1.2 after we've revised 1.1, because that's just probably how that's going to go as we add more lore and stuff based on the research that we've figured out. I mean, I don't know about Braydan, but I don't know anything about China, so I'm kind of excited to like learn more.
Yeah, this will be fun.
I've dabbled in like Chinese mythology and in some of the media that I've seen, but that doesn't give me any credibility or anything like that. So it's just like I need to take a good look. I actually have a friend that knows a bit about China, being that she is Chinese, which helps. So maybe I'll ask some questions there. But I think there's a lot of this is going to stem up to or come from the research that we kind of, which I know we keep saying, oh, we're going to do research and we're going to come back with all the things, but it's just like there's so much research that we have to do that there's not enough time sometimes.
Be a lot, yeah.
But we have enough that we at least have most of our setup on paper, digital paper, which I'm very happy with our progress today.
I am too. I think we're on a great path.
We are, and it's so interesting to see how this unfolds, because it was literally going to be like, oh, Bloodborne-esque in London. Whoa, that's so cool. And it's going to be like all these crazy like monsters, weapons, and like the story's going to be like kind of crazy. And now it's this completely different thing, but with elements from both of us that have kind of stayed somewhat the same. And I'm really excited to see where else it's going to go.
Yeah, this will be a fun adventure for everyone.
Yeah, and I'm really happy with how it's like coming together.
Yeah, and you know what? We've been saying that we're liking this idea, but what do you think? Why don't you let us know?
True.
We would love to hear your thoughts. Maybe that maybe you have a suggestion that we could listen to and probably consider, or maybe throw out the window. That's fine too, but we'd still love to hear from you.
Yeah, and not, put them in the comments. My mom's been texting me. She has plenty of thoughts on how things are going. She's like, turn that damn music down. I'm like, all right, fine.
All right, yeah. Thanks, Mom.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
But yeah, no, we're always open to suggestions, ideas. If you have an idea for kind of Act 2, I know we're not there yet, but there's always
hit us with it.
Yeah, there's always there's no reason why we can't get from point A to point B on your idea. So, absolutely. Leave a like if you want.
Oh, he's doing it.
Comment your favorite genre of food and why, as well as your
genre
ideas.
Of food
and why.
Okay.
I want to get to know our audience. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
In addition,
No,
in
no, it's
addition
not.
to
There's nothing wrong with that.
your writer ideas, just
Yeah, don't forget the thing that we said earlier, but also
Yeah.
at the end, addendum to tell us your favorite type of food, and you have to give us an explanation as to why.
And if you can't come up with an explanation, just put your favorite dish in there, and maybe I'll just be like, oh.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, that is the best.
Yeah. So, but then also, you like watching us, you keep coming back. Subscribe, make your life easier, so that we just kind of pop up on the old YouTubes for you on stuff, and maybe have notifications on, because I don't know why us YouTubers have to say that, because I just have notifications on. Like, I want to know when things are coming out. Like, why would you not have, like, that's like,
yeah, that's true,
turning notifications off for text messages. It's just like, no, what? Or like the news, like your news app. It's just like, no, I need to know when things are happening.
that's a little bit different. Sometimes I kind of want to turn that notification off. I kind of don't want to hear all of the news at once.
Well, see,
but I get what you're saying.
I have a news app that's like, you customize what you hear. So
that's pretty nice.
I've kind of got like here, let's see what's the most.
As he's looking for that, I'm gonna continue the YouTube spiel. We would love for you to subscribe and hit the bell for notifications, and leave a like. Yep. We're gonna be doing we're still on our summer schedule, so new episodes Wednesday and Saturday. We're gonna keep this feature train rolling. You already know what we're gonna do in the next episode, and in future episodes we're gonna keep writing this thing. It's all gonna be really fun, and we'd hope that you join us.
Yeah. Most recent one, Americans warned do not travel to these 6 countries this summer. Don't know what that means, but don't. That's just yeah. But yeah, what he said. Also,
all right,
we have an Instagram now.
Oh yeah,
go check that
Editor
out.
Cole, do it.
Whoa!
Thanks, buddy.
He did it.
I love you, man. You're so. Yeah, he's great.
Sick. Yeah. Play the outro. I don't. Bye.